In the dying days of the Roman Republic, when corruption spread through the Senate like rot through timber, one man stood alone. His name was Cato, and he would not bend. Cato the Younger was born into privilege, descendant of Cato the Elder, raised in one of Rome's most respected families. But he didn't live like other young aristocrats. He wore simple clothes, walked barefoot through the forum, and studied philosophy not as decoration, but as a way of life. He chose Stoicism, and he lived it without compromise. When Julius Caesar offered him bribes to look the other way, Cato refused. When powerful men threatened him, he stood firm. When the Senate descended into shouting matches, Cato's voice cut through, calm, rational, unwavering. He believed in the Republic, in the rule of law, in virtue over expediency. His fellow senators found him exhausting. "Why can't you be practical?" they'd ask. "Why must you always be so rigid?" But Cato knew that principles don't bend. Virtue isn't negotiable. The moment you compromise with corruption, you become part of it. He opposed Caesar's rise at every turn, not out of personal hatred, but because he saw what Caesar truly was, a man who had sacrificed the Republic for personal power. While others made deals and hedged their bets, Cato stood in the Senate and spoke truth, even when it made him enemies. When civil war came, Cato fought on the side of the Republic, and when Caesar's victory became inevitable, Cato retreated to Utica in North Africa. His allies begged him to surrender, to accept Caesar's famous clemency. Caesar would pardon him. Everyone knew that. He could live, continue his work, fight another day. But Cato understood something they didn't. Accepting Caesar's pardon meant accepting Caesar's authority. It meant acknowledging that one man now stood above the law. And that Cato would not do. On his last night, he had dinner with friends. They spoke of philosophy, of courage, of freedom. Cato was calm. Afterward, he retired to his room and read Plato's Phaedo, the dialogue about Socrates facing death with tranquility. Then he took his sword and fell upon it. His family found him and called physicians. They stitched his wound. But when Cato woke and realized he had been saved, he tore open the stitches with his own hands and bled to death. Even in death, he would not compromise. Some called it suicide, some called it madness, but the Stoics understood. Cato died free. He refused to live in a world where law meant nothing, where virtue was a punchline, where power trumped principle. His death was his final argument, his final statement that some things matter more than survival. Seneca later wrote of Cato, "He showed that the one who has lived long enough has also lived long enough when he has lived virtuously." Cato's choice wasn't for everyone, but his message was universal. There are principles worth more than comfort. There are truths worth more than peace. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to participate in corruption, no matter the cost.